try to go there and see that I ain't give up there. I know you say you get your mind tripping, all you all the same. I never fuck with dirty drugs, I never fuck with hate.
First, the body of a missing 20-year-old man is recovered in East Point today. Good evening, I'm Angelique Proctor in for Eric Perry. We're talking about the case of Derek Samuel, which we first brought you 3 weeks ago. Fox 5's Annie Mapp was one of the first to report his disappearance.
He walked out of a Target store on a regular Tuesday evening, said goodbye to his friends, and then vanished. No argument, no warning signs, no bulbie, just gone. And what makes this case even harder to sit with is that Derek Samuel was the kind of person who never went quiet. His mother described him as goofy, always smiling, always happy. She said she had never really seen her son sad or upset a day in his life. This was a young man with a twin sister he was deeply connected to, a clothing line he was working toward launching, and a whole future in front of him. So when he stopped responding to messages that night, everyone who loved him knew immediately that something was deeply wrong. April 29th, 2026. Derek is at the Camp Creek Marketplace in East Point, Georgia. Surveillance cameras catch him inside the Target, then at a few other stores in the shopping center, moving normally, not appearing distressed, not looking over his shoulder. He parts ways with two friends, and then he walks out, heads down the sidewalk toward Commerce Drive, and disappears from the camera frame entirely. That was it. That was the last confirmed sighting of Derek Samuel alive. His friends reported him missing the next day after he never responded to any of them. His twin sister, who spoke to him constantly, couldn't reach him either. His mother, Nishi, told reporters that her son going silent like that was not just unusual. It was impossible to explain. This was not a young man who ghosted the people he loved. Something happened to Derek between that parking lot and wherever he ended up, and from that moment forward, his family refused to stop looking. If this case is already hitting different for you, you are not alone. And before we go further, if you are new here, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss a case on shadow crime. Stories like Derek's deserve every set of eyes they can get, and your support is what keeps this channel going. Now let's get back to Derek, because this case is far from over. East Point police launched their investigation quickly. Detectives used the city's real-time crime center cameras to track Derek's movements after he left the shopping center. The footage showed him walking across the street to a nearby gated apartment complex and slipping in behind a vehicle as it passed through the gate. Investigators knocked on every single door in that complex, asking residents if anyone recognized him. Nobody came forward. They then requested cell phone records from Derek's carrier to pinpoint his last known location, but that carrier took over a week to respond. And that delay alone cost the investigation critical time in those first crucial days when finding someone alive is still possible.
First, the body of a missing 20-year-old man is recovered in East Point today. Good evening, I'm Angelique Proctor in for Eric Perry. We're talking about the case of Derek Samuel, which we first brought you 3 weeks ago. Fox 5's Annie Mapp was one of the first to report his disappearance. Annie, you were there as crews searched for him today.
Angelique, good evening. It took crews a little over 4 hours to locate 20-year-old Derek Samuel. He was found in a wooded area behind the reserve at Redwine Apartments around 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Lord, we lift this situation up to you.
The search for 20-year-old Derek Samuel started with prayer.
Satan, you are coming to an end. What you have done is coming to an end.
Volunteers from the Georgia Emergency Search and Rescue Team came from all over the state with the mission to find him, rain or shine.
God put us in the right place at the right time.
Angel Alonzo leads the nonprofit organization. He says they reached out to East Point police before determining where to look. They then got their ATVs, boats, canines, and other specialized equipment ready for Sunday's search.
When you come out, you can't leave anything open. You can't leave anything untouched.
Alonzo says they found a body behind the woods at an apartment complex not far from the Camp Creek Marketplace, where East Point police say surveillance footage last captured Derek on April 29th.
One of our canines was out with a couple of our guys, and they immediately spotted what needed to be searched and looked at, and it was an area that had not been confirmed that anyone was in.
Derek's family told Fox 5 the body found was in fact him. In a statement, they said, quote, "Although this is not the outcome we all prayed for, unfortunately, it has now become our reality. Thank you to everyone who has prayed on our behalf, and we ask that you continue to keep us covered in your prayers as we navigate this difficult time. It's hard, y'all. We just ask for some privacy to grieve now, please." Alonzo says offering families closure is what drives their mission.
It's a little bit hard because the outcome, but I'm glad that they got closure and now they can move forward. But this is what we do. This is our job.
Again, we were first to report on Derek's disappearance nearly 3 weeks ago. At that point, East Point police had not issued an alert for Derek. As of tonight, they have not identified whether that body was in fact his or the cause of death. But again, we did get that confirmation from his family. Reporting live in East Point, Annie Mapp, Fox 5 News.
Annie, thank you for the latest there.
When the cell phone records finally came back, they told investigators exactly where to look. Derek's phone had last pinged in a heavily wooded area behind the reserve at Redwine apartment complex on Redwine Road. That was their target location. So on May 16th, detectives went in with 5 cadaver dogs and walked over 4 miles through dense vegetation for 6 hours straight. Nothing. They came out empty-handed. A second search was conducted shortly after with additional cadaver dogs. Again, nothing. And this is where things start to get uncomfortable. Because how do you walk 4 miles through the same woods where a person's phone last pinged and find absolutely nothing? That question alone had the internet going crazy. And honestly, can you blame people? Now here is something that a lot of people are not talking about enough. While the family was out there every single day searching, posting flyers, organizing volunteers, raising reward money all the way up to $15,000, the investigation was being quietly buried under a wave of false information. The police chief later admitted that social media had flooded their tip line with noise. Psychics were calling in. People were claiming they had seen Derek. Multiple individuals actually told investigators they had spoken to him in mid-May, weeks after he vanished, and law enforcement had to chase down every single one of those leads. Chief Buchanan said himself, social media was a double-edged sword in this case, and that it mostly hindered the investigation rather than helped it. But here is what nobody has answered yet. Who were those people claiming to have seen and spoken to Derek in mid-May? Because if he was already gone by then, someone was lying to the police. And if they were lying, why? Were they confused? Were they trying to throw investigators off? Or was something else going on that we are not being told about? Those individuals have never been publicly named or held accountable. And that detail is sitting right at the center of why so many people do not trust the official narrative on this case. The family never stopped. And that matters. Because it was actually the family who reached out to Georgia Emergency Search and Rescue, a nonprofit volunteer organization with around 150 members across the state, including trained searchers, medical staff, and law enforcement personnel. They came in, reviewed maps of every previously searched area, and on May 31st, they went back into those same woods. K9 Yeager and his handler Jim Lopez led the way. Within 3 hours, they found human remains. The very next day on June 1st, investigators returned to the same location and recovered additional remains, along with Derek's cell phone and a handgun. Let that sink in for a second. 3 separate searches by law enforcement found nothing. A volunteer team called in by the family found him in under 3 hours.
And East Point police say they don't suspect foul play in the death of 20-year-old Derek Samuel. The agency made that announcement during a news conference today. Searchers found Samuel's body Sunday afternoon in a wooded area not far from the Camp Creek Marketplace where he was last seen. Fox 5's Annie Mapp has covered the story extensively from the beginning and joins us live at the police department with the details. Annie?
Tyler, good evening. East Point Police Chief Sean Buchanan says evidence led them to make that conclusion. However, the Samuel family says they don't believe it. Chief Sean Buchanan says evidence leads them to believe 20-year-old Derek Samuel was behind his own death.
We're here to give facts and just facts.
According to the chief, cameras last captured Samuel on April 29th at the Camp Creek Marketplace, where video shows him leaving Target and then walking towards an apartment complex nearby. The chief says two friends he went to the store with reported him missing to police the next day.
The apartment complex is gated. A vehicle entered and he walked behind the vehicle into the apartment complex.
The Georgia Emergency Search and Rescue Team ended up stepping in to help look for him this past Sunday. It took them just a few hours to find Samuel in the woods behind the apartment complex where he was last seen entering and where police say his phone last pinged. Some family members have questioned why local police didn't find him first.
They did everything correctly. It may not appear that way looking from the outside because it took so long for us to find him. But remember, we immediately went door to door in that apartment complex. We had already previously searched those woods as well. We just didn't have any cadaver dogs.
We spoke to the Samuel family about East Point's findings. They sent us a statement calling the results insulting and saying that they will look for justice. East Point police say despite their announcement, the case remains open.
Still have a lot of digital search warrants that are out there, a lot of digital information to come back.
Again, police say remains belonging to Samuel were found on Sunday, but they went back to that same wooded area on Monday and found additional remains belonging to Samuel, along with his phone, a firearm, and a shell casing. Reporting live in East Point, Annie Mapp, Fox 5 News.
Yeah, Annie, I know you'll keep us up to date. Thanks so much.
When the East Point Police Department held their press conference on June 3rd, Chief Sean Buchanan stood in front of cameras and said 4 words that stopped everyone in their tracks. No foul play suspected. He said it twice, deliberately, like he wanted to make sure it landed. He pointed the gun and the single shell casing found near Derek's remains and declined to say anything further about how they got there or what connection they had to his death. When reporters pressed him directly about whether suicide had been ruled out, he admitted it had not. So what we have is a police department that is telling the public there was no crime while simultaneously refusing to explain what actually happened. That is not a conclusion. That is a non-answer dressed up as one. And Derek's family was not having it. They released a statement calling the department's view insulting, not disappointing, not frustrating, insulting. That word choice tells you everything about where this family stands. They are not grieving quietly and accepting what they have been told. They are demanding justice, asking the community to stand with them, and making it very clear that they believe something is being buried here. The East Point mayor even stepped up to the microphone at that same press conference and told the public to be mindful of what they share on social media. Now, you can take that however you want, but a lot of people in that community heard that as an attempt to shut down the conversation before it got too loud. And here is what makes this even harder to sit with. As of right now, the remains have not even been officially and scientifically identified. The medical examiner has given no timeline for when that confirmation will come. The official cause of death has not been released. The gun found near Derek's body has not been explained. The investigation has not been closed. Chief Buchanan himself admitted there are loose ends they are still working on. So we are being asked to accept a no foul play conclusion on a case where the body is not officially identified. The cause of death is unknown. A gun with no explanation was found at the scene, and mystery individuals who claim to have contact with Derek weeks after he vanished have never been named or questioned publicly. So let me leave you with this. Why did it take a volunteer K-9 team less than 3 hours to find Derek in an area that trained police dogs searched multiple times and came up empty? Who are the people that told investigators they saw and spoke to Derek in mid-May And why have they never been identified? And if this truly was not a crime, why does the family of the person who died feel like justice has not been served? Derek Samuel was 20 years old. He had a twin sister, a dream, and a whole life ahead of him. His family deserved the truth. And so does he. If this case moved you, share this video, leave a comment, and let us know what you think happened to Derek. Shadow Crime will keep following this one because this story is far from over.